here's the thing is I'm not mad about the church. I'm not mad that I was raised in the church. I actually had a really great experience growing up LDS,
Right.
Going to the dances,
Yes.
and being in scouts,
Yes.
and all the things. There's
The organizational and the social side was very important.
You know what
for
I-
me.
service for me was
You
a
know
big
what-
deal. We were always doing service. I'm sorry,
No.
And it was just it's a part of who I am still. I'm not going to give up the parts that are true,
Right.
but the parts that I'm no longer aligned with.
And those are just principles.
Yeah.
They're not actually parts of the church.
Yeah.
They're just principles
Right. And
that
I'm-
the
and I'm
church
not-
happens to teach as well.
I'm not mad about that. I also I don't vote a certain way because I don't align that way. It's
Right.
nothing personal. It's just
Right.
I don't align with
Right.
it.
Yep.
No, what I was going to say is you also grew up in Texas, in Las Vegas, right? Not in Salt Lake.
Yeah, I
And
moved
what
to
I've
Utah
noticed, there's a big difference between the LDS Church here
Oh, yeah.
versus everywhere else.
There's a
The
big
church
there's
in
a
it-
culture difference.
Yes,
Yes.
massive difference.
Yeah.
And the church by itself, doctrine, anywhere else that I've been, it's a good thing. It really is.
Yeah.
You know, the family values, living a clean life,
a
all
great
that
tribe.
stuff. It's a great tribe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, those are
But
principles.
it's here
right? Yeah.
where it's part of the culture, and it's more than just the church that you're going to on Sunday, right? It's every single day. It's every building block down to they've got a church at school.
Well,
that
it's
all the-
literally
you know,
down to
That's how it is in
down to
Texas. That's how it was
the
in
underwear
Texas.
that you wear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where it becomes very demanding, right? It's a high demand religion.
Yeah.
Is it they tell you what you can and can't drink, what you can and can't experience, what you can and can't wear, even your underwear, and how much money you have to pay in order to get into heaven. There's certain things that now that I'm away and I see it from clearer lenses, I identify them really quick and I go, holy shit, I actually believed this my whole life.
Yeah. How did I buy into that?
Yeah.
How was I such a part of that? When I say that I don't regret any of it, there's parts of it where I'm like, I don't know how I got my head around that for so long.
Right.
And not been like, because I was always the kid at the back that would like raise my hand in seminary, like,
Well, it's because you were sacrificing for good. That was your intention.
Yeah.
That's how you got your head around it, is that you intended to do and be good.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you thought that that's what it meant to do and be good.
Yeah.
Is to abide by all these things and to stand for these things. As a matter of fact, one of the best books I ever read was by something Fielding McConkie. What was his name? Anyways, one of the prophet's nephews or something, or sons or something. Joseph Fielding McConkie? No, I can't. Yeah, maybe. So anyways, I'm reading this book, and he wrote this book. It's called Where We Stand. And his point was, look, if you're going to be a member of the church, you've got to stand in these places. You got to go to the temple. You got to wear your garments. You got to pay tithing. You're not just halfway in or halfway out. This is where we stand, and this is who we are, right? And I was like, dude, that's actually not a bad principle. And I still feel like I live that way. Like, look, this is where I stand. And when it became clear to me that I didn't align with the historical facts about the church, and that had I known those things, I would not have joined in the first place, which I didn't have a choice. I was born into it,
Sure.
right? But if I clean slated everything,
Started fresh.
and then somebody said, okay, based on this, and this, and based on what you know, would you join this organization? I don't care what it's called, Kennedy Nights, right?
Yeah.
Like, would you join this Kennedy Nights? No, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't join it because they have this, and this in their history, and I don't subscribe to that stuff.
Yeah.
And so that's how I had to look at it in order to give myself a clean cut away from the organization, because it was so deep. It's still so deeply embedded in my brain.
Do you ever catch yourself? I'm glad we're talking about this. Do you ever catch yourself? I've got some principals that are running these programs that are running all the time, and I'll catch myself and I'll be like, now wait a second. I actually don't believe that anymore.
Yeah,
but I'm like,
yes.
but I'm beating myself up over this one thing, and I'm like, I mean, can I give you an example?
Yes, please.
This is heavy. I'm going to be a little vulnerable.
All right,
Let's go deep.
Yeah. The principle, and this isn't in the gospel per se, but it's in the culture of the gospel, is that there has to be a certain amount of suffering. There is opposition in all things. There has to be a certain amount of suffering in order for you to have success.
You have to endure.
Yes. You have to. You're not going to get anything good in life unless there is a price paid.
Yes.
And that is true-ish. It's true. Like, I have to put in the work. If I want to play in a
Yeah,
sport, I have to.
all of your success happens outside your comfort zone, right? So
Yeah, there has to be some suffering involved, but I don't have to continually suffer in order to be happy.
Right.
I don't have to be unhappy until one day I'm happy.
Right.
I can be happy.
Hey,
today.
It's okay. Stay in that shitty relationship.
Yeah.
Work it out. It's between you, her, and the Lord.
But it's
if you
working
endure to the end
Yeah.
and you die, then you'll be happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what I've done is I've robbed my ability to be happy today. I've robbed my ability to be successful today. And the truth of the matter is I woke up successful today. Ask anybody. Ask any of my friends. Ask my mom and dad, any of my brothers and sisters. I'm doing it. In my own perspective, nope.
Yeah.
Not good enough.
Well, and the other thing is they have a monopoly on happiness, totally, right? Like
Right.
you can't live outside the organization and be happy.
Yeah.
Where will you go, right? Brad Wilcox said, "Where will you go?"
Well, yeah, what would you even do?
What will you do?
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck in the world
Hope
if
that
you
works out.
leave the church.
All on your own.
Yeah, you'll be alone. Where will you go now?
Yeah.
All of your friends are members. All
Yeah.
of your family are members. Where will you go?
It kind of leans back into that, like,
Whoa.
you're being kicked out of the tribe. Like, all of a sudden, like back in those early days, you know what I mean? Like, if
Yeah.
you weren't in the community, you were kind of dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is a deep programming, right? Like, we all want to be included.
Yes.
And it really triggers that. Like, I remember feeling like a tremendous amount of fear
And guilt and
shame,
Yeah.
endless. And I'll catch myself in that spot. I'm just driving along kind of, wait a minute.
Dude, I remember
my
after
life is so good right now. What?
I remember after I had sex with my girlfriend at 17, I thought I was going to hell. I thought that God was going to strike me down. I would not have an eternal family. I would not be connected with Jesus and with my family after this life. I thought, oh my gosh, it's over. Because in the church they say it's next to murder.
Yeah.
That sexual sin
Next to
is
murder.
next to murder. It's the same thing as
serious?
murder.
Yeah.
Yes. They don't say it's behind it. They don't say it's below it. It's next to murder. And so my impression of that sin at that time, what I thought was a sin,
You're done.
I thought if
Damned.
I don't fix this shit,
Yeah.
I'm going to go to hell.
Confess, forsake.
Yeah.
Repent.
Yeah.
It's so weird. You know, you were saying, like, whether you're in or out. My experience with them, I moved here when I was in 8th grade, okay? And there was like a 3-week period where I was the cool kid on the block. Everybody came over and said hi, and it was really cool. And it was like, oh, we moved from Wyoming. I knew all the neighbors, everybody
Right.
up there, you know? So it was like, okay, well, we're making friends and whatnot. And I very distinctly remember my dad was out in the corner, and they invited me to go to church, and he's like, no. Absolutely not. You're not doing that. You can play.
Right.
Go play church ball with them. Do whatever you want.
Right.
And the second he said that, they never talked to me again.
Again, yeah, you
At
got
all.
cut off. Yeah.
I ate lunch in high school by myself in my truck. Like, I was the outcast from that
What?
moment.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
I never ate lunch in the lunchroom because I got tired of sitting by myself. I had like a barrier. And then I came in and I was like, I also was the starting quarterback. I was the catcher because I could flat out play my way to those. They hated me for that.
What?
My high school and 8th and 9th grade in high school was the most miserable time of my life.
Huh.
And it was because of this. They just, you're not going to be part of our crew. We want nothing to do with you.
I'd like to let you know, Topher, that the 8th and 9th grade are the most miserable part of everyone's
That's
life.
fair.
Yeah, just so you know, they're all assholes.
Yeah.
This is your thing. Of course, no disrespect, but man. Everybody in the 8th and 9th grade.
Yep.
Oh, God.
Yeah, we don't want to downgrade your
No,
emotion.
you're
but,
right. You're right.
But the 8th grade sucks. It still does.
And I'll be candid, I actually can't speak to that because I didn't fucking go to 8th grade.
What is 8th grade? Is that the 14, 15?
Yeah, because I got my driver's license. Yeah, so it'd been 14.
Okay, so when you're 14.
Yeah.
It just is a tough time.
Yeah. It's
Oh,
wild.
man.
Well, I'm glad we could talk open about that. You know, I think that it's interesting having conversations because I remember looking back 5 years before I left the church, and I've been gone for probably emotionally 5 years.
Okay.
And actually not attending probably a little over 3 years.
Oh, wow. So this is a relatively
It's
new
super
thing.
new, yeah.
Okay.
But when I look back 5 years when I started, before that, and I started to question, I remember just accepting everybody's opinions as their opinions and being okay with it. Like it was
Drives me nuts.
it was interesting. Like it was a transformation because I remember trying to debate people on stuff, and then I had this sales leader when I was doing door-to-door sales in '97. We didn't go over that yet, but I did these door-to-door sales one summer, and this kid, he was just like, "Hey, bro, don't worry about it. Just freaking don't worry about it, bro. Like, who cares? Who cares?" Like, that's what he was, telling me.
His mantra.
Because I was freaking out over something, trying to make it somebody else wrong, right?
Oh.
And he goes, "Who cares, bro? It's their opinion. Like, who cares? Let it go." And I was just like, "Shit, yeah. Why not? Why do I care, right?" And so I just started letting things go. And then I remember just kind of perpetually doing that in different times in life. And then people would say, "Oh yeah, you're really open and down to earth," right? That's what people would tell me. "You're really open and down to earth." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's just because I don't care about your opinion. It's yours.
Yeah.
I have mine, you have yours." So then I got along really well with politically different people and their views. I got really along with different cultures and their views. And then I served a mission and learned a lot of fucking weird people out in New Mexico,
Yep.
and their views. And then I was like, came home from my mission and had these amazing people that were not members of my church who respected me for my views. So why couldn't I respect them for theirs?
We need more of that
Yeah.
in the world right now.
Yeah.
Like today, if I
Yeah.
could make one wish, that would be it.
And so I think that's probably one. If somebody said, "What's your superpower?" I'd say I'm accepting of all people's perspectives, opinions, and desires
Yeah.
for themselves.
For themselves.
Yeah.
That's you.
Yeah.
Good on you.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. I love that. The point is, like, why be upset about it? There's no being. I have people that are like, "Well, it's unfair
because it
And
makes you wrong.
I don't know. It doesn't make you wrong.
This falls down to the whole, can I do something about it?
Yeah.
Right?
The thought filter.
The thought filter.
Yeah. Is it true? Can I do something about it? And then take massive action.
Right. Well, and the tough thing, like my brothers, I know they had a hard time with it because if I'm right, then they're wrong.
Right.
But it doesn't mean that I'm right. It just means that I'm not doing what they do.
Yeah.
What they do may be right for them. Them being a member of whatever organization, church, business, whatever,
And it is right.
is right for them. Yes.
That's the key. For
Right.
them, that's right.
Yeah, and to them, they're like, no, it has to be right for everybody, because that's what we grew up learning, is it has to be right for everybody.
Part of the doctrine is a very black and white type of looking at things.
Yes.
And the further I've gotten away from the gospel, the more gray, and that might be because I'm just getting older. Just the less I know.
Right.
I don't. Well, that's an interesting perspective. I've
Right,
never thought of it
yeah,
that way.
yeah.
And I love to hear perspectives that aren't mine, because I've got my shit down. I've been thinking about it for a long time.
Yeah.
I want to hear what you're thinking
Yeah.
about, because that's new to me.
Yeah.
And so I think that has been tremendously liberating for me. And I've always been that way. Growing up outside of the state, I've kind of always been open, because my opinion was often the most controversial.
Yeah.
And so I didn't share it very often.
Or the smallest opinion.
Or
like
the
in
small,
Texas,
yes.
not a
Demographically,
big-
there
yeah.
was not many of us down there, and so I was happy to listen to other people and thought, no, that's true for
That's
you.
interesting. Yeah.